Okay, so have you ever like really, really wanted something? And I mean like really visualized it, could practically taste it, thought about it all the
I
time.
think we all have.
Right. You think, okay, this is it. This is how I get my dream life. But then it doesn't quite work out that way, does it?
Unfortunately not. At least not always.
Yeah. And that's what we're diving into today. We're talking all things manifestation.
It's a topic that's definitely having a moment.
Totally. Everyone's talking about it, but it seems like there's a lot of confusion about what it actually is
Yeah,
and what it isn't.
exactly. And that's why we're here, to kind of cut through the noise and get to the bottom of it.
Exactly. We're looking at a ton of research, articles, all that good stuff to figure out what holds water.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So before we get into what manifestation is, maybe we should address some of the more, shall we say, out there claims.
Oh, absolutely. Those myths definitely exist.
Okay. So myth number one. If you just think about something hard enough, poof, it'll just magically appear. Like I'm picturing myself visualizing a parking spot opening up right when I need it. But in reality, I'm still driving around the block.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Right. So what's the deal with that?
Well, it comes down to this. Just because you want something really badly, even if you're picturing it super clearly, doesn't mean it's going to materialize out of thin air.
So no magic lamp, no genie granting wishes.
Afraid not. Our thoughts are powerful, sure, but they don't actually bend reality. And this leads into another big myth, the idea that the universe will just give you exactly what you ask for, no questions asked.
Oh man, I wish.
Right. But life is a little more complex than that. We make choices, other people make choices, and sometimes unexpected things happen.
And sometimes, let's be real, what we think we want isn't really what's best for us in the long run.
You're absolutely right. It's like that saying, be careful what you wish for. Sometimes the things we don't get lead us to something even better.
Okay, but there has to be something to this whole manifestation thing, right? I mean, it's everywhere.
There is. But it's not quite as mystical as some people make it out to be. It's more about understanding how your mindset can influence your reality.
Okay, so less about magic, more about the power of the mind. I like it.
Exactly. So one of the key concepts here is something called the expectancy effect. Basically, this is the idea that your beliefs and expectations can actually have a real impact on your perceptions, your behaviors, even your body's responses.
Wait, so you're telling me that if I believe something strongly enough, it can actually have a physical effect?
You got it. Think about the placebo effect.
Oh, right. Like when people feel better just because they think they're getting medicine, even if it's just a sugar pill.
Exactly. It's because their expectation of healing actually triggers real changes in their brain and body. And this ties into another fascinating area, the power of visualization and mental rehearsal. Now, I know we just debunked the myth about visualizing something, making it magically appear.
Right, no magic lamps here.
But there is a nuance to it. Studies, especially in sports psychology, have shown that athletes who vividly imagine themselves performing well actually do perform better in real life. It's like their brain is getting a practice run, strengthening those neural pathways.
So it's like mental training for your goals.
Exactly. And this all ties into a field that offers a really interesting and evidence-based approach to personal growth. Positive psychology.
Okay, I've heard of positive psychology.
Yeah.
It's about, like, thinking happy thoughts.
Well, it's a little more nuanced than that. It emphasizes things like cultivating a growth mindset, embracing optimism, and setting realistic but challenging goals.
So it's not just about positive thinking, it's about taking action, but in a way that's grounded in, like, actual science.
You got it. It's about finding the strategies that actually work. And one of the most powerful tools we have is the concept of SMART goals.
SMART goals. Okay, I think I've heard of that, but maybe give me a little refresher. What does SMART stand for again?
So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay, that's right. I remember now. But how does that actually work in, real life?
Well, instead of setting a vague goal like, I want to be more successful, which, let's be honest, who doesn't?
Right.
A SMART goal would be something like, I want to launch my photography side hustle in the next 6 months. And I'm going to start by building a website and landing 3 paid clients. So it's specific, it's measurable.
It's like you actually have a plan.
Exactly. It's not just some vague idea floating around in your head. And then to take it a step further, there's another really cool technique called implementation intentions.
Implementation intentions. Okay, now you've got me really curious. What's that all about?
It's a way to actually bridge that gap between having an intention like, I'm going to work out more, which we all say, right?
All the time.
And actually doing it. So instead of that vague intention, you create a specific if-then plan. Like, if it's a Tuesday evening, then I'm heading straight to that dance class I've been wanting to try. You're basically removing the decision fatigue from the equation.
Oh, that's so smart. Literally.
See? I told you it was a good one. And then, to really solidify your plan, there's this technique called mental contrasting, which was developed by psychologist Gabriel Ottingen.
Okay, I've never heard of that one. Mental contrasting. What's the deal with that?
It's kind of like a way to combine positive thinking with a little bit of a reality check. So first, you vividly imagine yourself achieving your goal. You're feeling the excitement, the satisfaction, all of that good stuff. And then you shift gears and ask yourself, okay, but what obstacles might get in my way?
So you don't just ignore the challenges, you actually plan for them.
Exactly. And then you brainstorm strategies to overcome those obstacles. So it's like creating a mental game plan for success.
I love that. So it's not about pretending everything's going to be perfect. It's about being prepared for when things inevitably get a little messy.
Exactly. And that's really what this whole manifestation thing is all about. It's not about wishing on stars. It's about understanding how powerful your mind is, but then actually putting in the work.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground here today, but if there's one big takeaway I hope our listeners walk away with, it's this. Manifestation isn't about sitting back and waiting for miracles. It's about realizing that you have the power to create the change you want to see in your life. But it takes effort, it takes strategy, and it definitely takes action.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And remember, you've got this.